What is good, my peoples? This is Kobe24. As always, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share if you enjoy these videos. Helps me out a lot. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed, that's going to subscribe. Absolutely appreciate it. Also, make sure you hit the notification button. It's a little bell next to the subscribe button, so you know when I'm streaming or when I upload a new video. I haven't been streaming lately. However, if you have the notification on, you will know exactly when I'm streaming. This is going to be a patch rundown of 7.12 that's coming out in a couple weeks now, and we're going to go over the buffs and the nerfs for all the champions that are being affected. So first up, we have Malzahar. Currently on the live server, he has the highest win rate in the mid lane at 55%. So Riot is thinking that they need to tone him down a little bit. So his Q, or his silence, the Call of the Void, is getting its damage lowered from 70, 110, 150, 190, and 230 to 70, 105, 140, 175, and 210. So it's getting lowered by 20, which isn't, it's not that significant. However, on his ulti, his Nethergrass, or his R, target damage lowered from 125, 250, 375 to 125, 225, and 325. So at max rank, it's getting lowered by 50 damage on its base. And then not only that, its AP ratio is getting lowered by 5%, which is a lot. So late game, he's going to have 100 less damage on his ultimate, which is quite a bit. His E hasn't changed, and his Voidlings, obviously, they aren't as good as they used to be, but they have not nerfed that, so it's just on his Q and his ulti. Not too bad. He's still going to be really strong in the mid lane. Next up, we have Camille. Now, she did drop out of the meta just because Riot had to nerf her. When she first came out, obviously, she was way too overpowered, and so they kind of nerfed her to the ground where she's not even picked anymore. But they're trying to bring her back in slowly, because if they buff her too much, obviously you know what happens. She's unkillable, and her ultimate, obviously there's no counterplay to her ultimate, which I hate. So but her Q is getting buffed, her precision protocol, it's going up by 20%. So if the second precision protocol attack hits at least 1.5 seconds after the first, the bonus damage is increased by 100% instead of 80. So it's going to do 20% more damage, which is insane. We'll see how it plays out on the live server, but I think this will definitely help her. Riot's definitely moving in the right direction with her. If they buff her too much, obviously, she's just going to destroy solo queue, and it's not going to be fun, obviously, playing against her, and she's going to be banned a lot. And so the people that do play her aren't going to be able to play her because she's banned all the time. Just like Yasuo right now is being banned all the time. So we'll see what happens with Camille. So next up, we have Corki. Corki's base attack damage is getting increased from 56 to actually 58. That is actually wrong. So I've actually tested this on the PBE. They actually increased it to 60, and they actually reverted it. They didn't revert it, but they nerfed it down a little bit because they thought it was too much. Also, his base attack speed is increased from 0.625 to 0.638. That is true. So I think most ADCs are around 0.638. I could be wrong, but that's going to help him a little bit with his early game. Also, on his passive, HEXTECH Shells, his percentage of basic attacks converted to magic damage is being increased from 50% to actually 80%. I believe you can see it in the video. It's not 75%. They had it at 75%, but they thought it was too low, so they increased it to 80%. I think this is going to help him come back a little bit in the meta. Especially, they want to see, obviously, Corki in the ADC and not in mid lane, because him being in the mid lane, he just does a lot of damage early game, and it actually punishes a lot of the AP scaling champions for the mid lane. So I believe they're trying to push him back down to ADC, but we'll see how this plays out. This is definitely in the right direction. I love playing Corki, and I really want to see him come back. So next up, we have JHIN. Now, I love playing this champion, and I want to see him come back into the meta. And so he is receiving some buffs on his Dancing Grenade. The base damage is going to be lowered. So from 50, 75, 100, 125, 150 to 45, 70, 95, 120, and 145. So the early damage from his grenade is going down. However, the scaling on it is going up. So the AD ratio is increased from 30, 35, 40, 45, 50% to 40, 45, 50, 55, and 60%. So it's increased by 10% at max rank, which is going to help him quite a bit in the late game, do some damage, just because Deathfire got nerfed, so it's hurting a lot of his spell damage, and that's what they're trying to do here. Also, his ultimate is getting buffed as well. The damage is getting increased from 40, 100, 160 to 50, 115, 180. Again, Deathfire did get nerfed, so I think the damage that they're increasing it by, so it's at 20 at max rank for his ultimate, so it's probably similar to what Deathfire would have been doing at max rank for his ultimate. So that's pretty good. I can't wait to see it on the live server and test him out. I want to see him come back because this guy is a beast, especially getting that crit shot on people. It's so satisfying. Next up we have Kindred. Now Kindred is receiving a buff, however on the live server I think she's way too squishy and they need a buff for base stats, especially with her magic resist and her armor. She just seems like she gets blown up in the early levels, especially against junglers that clear very quickly like Lee Sin, Elise. But we'll find out. Anyways, her buff currently on the PBE is to her Mounting Dread. The mana cost is being lowered from 70 to 50 at all ranks. That's nothing too special, but I hope to see some other buffs coming shortly for her. But yeah, this is currently on the PBE. Next up we have rek'sai. Now rek'sai is receiving some buffs. Base attack damage is being increased from 55.628 to 57.5. Armor growth is being increased from 3.4 to 3.75, and then the reliability of the ultimate is being improved. Also on burrow and unburrow, the bonus AD ratio is being increased from 40% to 80%, which is going to help, especially like wave clearing and doing early damage. Right now rek'sai really struggles with early damage until she has the Tiamat. But again, we'll see how well she will do on the live server with this buff. So next up we have Rumble. He's getting some nerfs to his early game. Also his overheating is getting nerfed, so he can start overheating, but then it takes longer for him to get out of the overheating phase. Basically on his passive, Junkyard Titan, the decay start increased from 3 seconds to 4 seconds, and then the decay speed changed from the 5 ticks and the 10 ticks to 10 per tick every 1 second. That's quite a bit. I've tested it on the PBE. He stays overheating for a while. I mean, it takes him a while for him to stop overheating. On his Q, his damage to minions lowered from 100% to 75%. His cooldown changed from 6 seconds to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 seconds. Again, they're nerfing his early game. And then the base damage changed from 75, 135, 195, 255, 315 plus 100% AP to 115, 165, 215, 265, 315 plus 110% AP. So again, the early game is being nerfed, but then the mid game, the late game is still going to be strong. And then we have his W, his shield. The duration is being lowered by 0.5 seconds from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. However, the value the shield gives is being increased from 50, 80, 110, 140, 170 to 80, 110, 140, 170, 200. Again, the mid game is going to be very strong, and as well as the late game for the shield. But the duration isn't going to last as long. I don't think you're going to notice too much of a difference at 0.5 seconds, but it is a nerf to how long he can have his shield on for. And then his E, his harpoon, damage increase from 45, 70, 95, 120, 145 to 60, 85, 110, 135, 160. So you can't just sit there and eat those harpoons anymore. You actually have to make an effort to dodge them, because I will just stand there when I'm playing against a Rumble and just eat the E's. But now you're going to have to actually make an effort to dodge these harpoons. Also, again, he stays overheating longer, so that's where they're buffing him in certain spots and then nerfing a lot of his early game, so he doesn't have that just insane pushing power in the early levels. But I like the direction that they're taking Rumble in. Good to see that. I hate playing against this champion. He's just ridiculous sometimes. So Ziya is receiving a nerf. However, I think they need to nerf a lot of her damage, just because when she's fed, she's just she does way too much damage early levels, and especially when she has no items. But they're nerfing her W. The cooldown is being changed to 20 seconds at rank 1, and then at rank 2, 19 seconds, rank 3, 18 seconds, rank 4, 17 seconds, and then the final rank will be 16 seconds. So you can't spam it as much, but so her early levels a little bit is being affected, but not much. I mean, she's still going to do an insane amount of damage. So last we have Zack. Now Zack is receiving nerfs because on the live server he's a picker ban. He does an insane amount of damage early, mid, and late game. and you can just build full tank. So he's unkillable, and he does a lot of damage. So he's getting a nerf to his W. The damage is being lowered from 40, 55, 70, 85, 100 to 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. That's 10 at all ranks. Obviously, you're going to feel it at early levels, but mid to late game, I don't think you're going to notice it as much, just because the scaling is going to help him with the mid to late game. Also, his E, the elastic slingshot, is the damage is also being lowered from 80, 130, 180, 230, 280 to 60, 110, 160, 210, 260. So it's being lowered by 20. Again, you're going to feel it at the early levels, but mid to late game, as long as you're scaling, you're not going to feel it as much. I'm glad he's getting nerfed, because this guy, again, he's tearing it up in solo queue. He's a picker ban, and not only that, he has the second highest win rate in the jungle. So play him right now before he gets nerfed, and then yeah, pick a new champion to play in the jungle. Last I want to talk about is Face of the Mountain. It's getting a visual update. As you can see in the video, the stacks are absolutely beautiful. They're swirling around him, and not only that, the active is this green bubble that you can easily tell, especially when it's about to explode. I don't know if that's something new where it slows people, but you can definitely tell when it's when it's active. Right now, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but this visual update, I love it. I think it's gorgeous. I think they need to do that to a lot of other items, and especially a lot of other champions, but you know, one thing at a time. And that is all for patch 7.12 at the moment, but if there's more to update you guys, I will. As always, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share. I'm Kobe248. Thank you for watching, and you guys stay awesome, my friends, and I'm out. Peace!